Right, welcome to the webinar today, everybody. Capability statements for government contractors, presented by our own procurement technical assistance specialist, Marie Mishker. Thank you for joining us. I'm Allie Stevens with the Florida SBDC at UNF. In case you are unfamiliar with the SBDC and the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, or PTAC, we are part of a statewide network, and our mission is to help your small businesses start, grow, and succeed, and get those contracts. The Florida PTAC procurement specialists provide high-value confidential consulting at no cost to help small and medium for-profit businesses located in Florida research and bid on government contracts from the Department of Defense, other federal agencies, state and local agencies, and prime contractors. I will have all of our contact information in the chat function, as well as a follow-up email that will be sent out after the event. So if you are interested in following up with Marie or making a no-cost appointment or looking for more training, you will have all the pieces to do so. Quick housekeeping, this session is being recorded, and the link will be sent out to everybody this afternoon, along with a survey in that email that I just mentioned. So please be on the lookout for that. We live and breathe by your feedback. It helps us continually provide effective training for you, the small business owners. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please type them into the question section of your control panel, and I will be moderating them, and we'll address them throughout the presentation, and then we'll have time at the end for Q&A. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Marie. Take it away.
Hey, hi everyone. Thank you for joining this afternoon. Appreciate you dialing on in. For those of you who may not have attended prior sessions, this is almost the capstone of a series that Gregory Grant and I have been pulling together. So Greg and I kicked off our series of classes on small business certifications, both at the local and federal level. And then we went ahead and we spoke about NAICS codes, the dynamic small business search engine as well. And now we're talking about capability statements. And then now in November, Greg is going to have a seminar that's focused on veterans, since November is Veterans Month. And so there's going to be a veterans topic, so stay tuned on that. And then in December, we're going to kind of we've done all of the pieces. After today's class, we'll have all of the pieces kind of set up. You know, we'll have our NAICS codes identified, we'll have our research done in dynamic small business search, and you'll know what types of certifications you want to go into. So now, hey, you're ready for your SAM profile, and after today's class, you'll have your capability statement drafted. So what comes next? How do I market to the federal government? How do I even know what agency, whether I want to go state, local, or federal? Well, that's the topic in December's class. And so that will be on December the 10th at 10 o'clock. But kind of a teaser for next week. Next week, we are going to have a live and in-person event presented by Gregory Grant and Julia Montgomery, and the topic is going to be on government contracting and global partners. So it's also going to pull in that international aspect. And where is that live event? That live event is going to be held at the Jacksonville Cecil Center. And Allie, you'll have that information is already on our website, right?
Correct, under the events and workshops tab.
Okay. And there's a nominal fee of $15, so you do need to pre-register for that. So I'll give you kind of a little reminder at the end of the class today, for those of you who may still be logging in, but do go to our library for the earlier classes, and then stay tuned for 2 more PTAC classes in November and 1 in December, and then next week's international and government training class at the Cecil Center. So let's kick off with capability statements, or some people call them capability statements or capabilities statement. Tomato, tomato, kind of the same acronym. So what is a capability statement? That's going to be one of the topics we cover today. And what does a capability statement contain? And why, where, and how do I use it? You know, I create this thing. You P-TECH people want me to create this thing. Now, what do I do with it? And so those are going to be our discussion topics that we'll be covering today. So what is a capability statement? And you will find that capability statements is much like a corporate or is a resume. And so when you Google capability statements, you are going to find a plethora of information out on the World Wide Web on there. And everyone has their own little piece of advice. Just when you take your personal resume to 3 different people, you're going to get feedback on 3 different perspectives, which is great, because then you end up putting together what you are most comfortable with, because this is a living, breathing document. It is definitely not a one and done document. So it will always keep updating it, and it will morph into what the business is currently doing and providing. So in a standard form, it's a 1-page document, and it informs an individual of what the business value is. What is it the business is bringing to an agency, to a potential teaming partner, to to a large prime contractor. It's very clear and concise and to the point, and it provides a quick snapshot of how your company can benefit the large prime, the government, the federal, state, city government sector, as well as how you could potentially also help a teaming partner. And it's tailored to your industry. So depending upon your industry area, you may add or detract items on your capability statement. So what does a capability statement actually contain? Now, you will get a wide array, again, when you start researching capabilities on the website. And so there's normally about 5 sections that are covered in a capability statement. First, contact information, your corporate data, core competencies as it relates to the business, and differentiators, and your past performance. And we're going to go through each of these segments right now, and I will be showing some samples as well. So the contact information, believe it or not, some people do create capability statement and they forget to put either their point of contact on there, telephone numbers, or email addresses. So it may seem very rudimentary, but it is really important to make sure that you have contact information on your capability statement. The name of the company, branding, a particular logo. If you have a logo or a slogan of the company, you would want to put that on the capability statement as well. Your web address, and who do you want the person to reach out to? Do you have a business development person that you want noted on the capability statement? Do you want things to go through the president of the company? Those types of information, contact information, you would want to have on your capability statement, as well as telephone number and email as appropriate. If you have a general call-in number, you may want to list that, as well as your business development contact information. And corporate data. By corporate data, that is data that is relevant to that particular corporation, such as the DUNS number, the CAGE code, your NAICS codes, which are identified for the particular industry areas that you are working in, and your certifications. Those could be the SBA certifications, your WASB, ED WASB, 8A certification, your veteran, service disabled veteran certifications. They also could be the minority business enterprise certifications, as well as other state level certifications that you obtain. So there are certain states that have a state hub zone program. You would list those. If you have the federal hub zone certification, you would also want to list those. Also, certifications that are professional in nature. And by that, they could be ISO certifications, certifications that are unique to your particular industry area. And so oftentimes people will overlook, you know, if you are in healthcare and you have healthcare certifications for transporting patients, there may be a safety handler's certification. If you're in construction, you may have an ISO or project management type certification. You want to call those out. So it's important when you start to draft your capabilities statement that you start brainstorming. You've already done a lot of basic work prior to getting to this point with the capabilities statement. Those clients that I have met with will know that I have you do a brainstorming session. I have you write down everything that the company is doing and also associate keywords. I want you to write keywords. All of that helps not only with NAICS codes identification and enhancing your dynamic small business search profile, but now it also just naturally flows into your capability statement. You'll find that now you have your NAICS codes. This is what we do. This is how I do it. These are the certifications. This is what I have as a professional with regards to my business. Those types of certifications or licenses. So some industries, you need to have a particular license. If you're in transportation, do you have DOT licenses? So all of those licenses, you want to make sure that you are listing those first on your write-up to say, okay, these are the licenses that I have. So you have your DUNS, your CAGE codes, your product service codes, you have all of your coding information, you have your NAICS codes, which are unique to your industry areas you're working in, and your certifications. Those could be small business certifications or professional certifications. They can be at the federal level, they could be at the state level, or they could be at the local level. Then, core competencies. What is it that your company performs? And that's the question. And it needs to be clear and concise, not a really, really long dissertation. Keep in mind, this is a one-pager that you're going to be presenting. From what it is, the core competencies, what differentiates you from the rest of the pack? So as a supplier diversity advocate, I would meet with companies, I would be at national conferences, and I would meet companies oftentimes in the IT arena. IT is a huge competitive market. And people would come and say, well, I do cybersecurity. And I would run across somebody in a cybersecurity, and I would run across 20 companies. So my question to any company always was, what makes you the best thing since sliced bread? Why would I, or why would my agency want to issue you a contract? What delineates you from the rest of the pack? And so keep in mind that this capability statement is going to call out in a very succinct manner what delineates you from the rest of your industry. So what makes you special? You know, you want to highlight benefits or important metrics perhaps that you've called out. And you want to tailor to your particular government sector that you are going after. You also want to be focused on customer needs, you know, the decision maker or the gatekeeper, the gateway keeper. Oftentimes those are small business advocates. They're actually doing a pre-screening for contracting officers or even the technical line. They want to make sure that you are meeting basic minimum requirements for what may be coming down the road. And so your capability statement will call out those differentiators. And so what makes you different from your competitors? And how is that of value to a federal agency or a large prime, a state agency, a local city government, or even to a teaming partner? So this is kind of the mindset that you have to start developing with regards to your capability statement. You already know the answers. You've been in this business, in this industry area. You know what sets you apart from the person down the road. It's just a matter of putting it on paper. And then what unique features and benefits do you provide, or the types of products that you provide? If you are a platinum Oracle supplier or a premium Microsoft supplier, guess what? That was on the previous slide, right? Licenses, certifications, those are things that not everyone has. If you are selling furniture and you sell specific types of furniture, Herman Miller, you know, that are unique to government purchases, you would want to call that out on your capability statement, right? Because that's a key word, Herman Miller. You know, and so you want to make sure that if you are in a product related area, if you have special licenses, you are a special distributor, you know, especially in construction, if you provide certain types of, you know, cranes, bulldozers that are being sold, you want to call out that I'm a distributor of John Deere, I'm a distributor of whoever, Hitachi. You know, those things. Electronics is also another area where people are highly, you know, branded with regards to licensing. You want to make sure that those are called out on your capability statement. Why? Because that's a benefit. If I'm a buyer and I know that you are an authorized reseller of Oracle or Microsoft products or of certain types of testing equipment used in a laboratory, I know that the pricing may already be established, or I want to find out what your pricing is. That sets you apart from your competitors. And so those are the types of qualifiers that you need to realize you have. And so that distinguishes you from the rest of the pack. I like to call those pearls. Those are extra little pearls that you have with regards to your business or your service offering. So that is very, very important to make sure that you have outlined. So you can take your pad of paper and you can, you know, write out corporate data, contact information, you know, write down your NAICS codes, write down your DUNS and all of that. And then, you know, what is it? What is your core competency? What is your service offering? And then what are your differentiators? Why am I special? Why am I better than my competitor? Why would somebody want me to be part of their team if they're going after a larger contract? Or why would a prime contractor want to have me on board? or city, state, federal contracting officers. It's kind of a mindset to kind of get into. So past performance. A lot of questions around past performance. They're people you've done work for in the past, right? I mean, that sounds almost kind of silly to even say out loud. People that you have performed similar work for that a potential contracting officer would also have the same needs or requirements. And so oftentimes you will want to go ahead and, again, because your capability statements are targeted, you want to make sure that you are prioritizing your capability statement to either focus internal to the agency. If you know you only want to work with DOD or Homeland Security or Department of Energy or Indian Health Services, you really need to be able to pull out of your past performance profile those work contracts that would be related to that particular industry or that particular agency and other government agencies. So oftentimes people will come to the PTACs and they'll say, Marie, I don't have any federal, experience. I've done work in the state of Florida, I've done work in Georgia, I've worked for this particular town, or I've worked in corporate America. Those are all valid past performance. Do not negate those. Oftentimes what a contracting officer is looking for when they look at past performance, what is the type of work performed? What is the scope of work that was performed with regards to this particular contract? If it's construction, did they do a build? Did they do a site clean and build? Was there construction related to one aspect of a building? Are they roof specialists? Are they civil? Did they do the road work? Did they do the pipe? Did they do the large sewers? So it really depends on the contracting officer's need of what it is they are trying to see. Your job in your capability statement is to show your breadth and depth of the different types of work that you've performed. And it doesn't necessarily have to be federal. If I know that you've worked at the city, you've done city construction jobs, and I'm a state contracting officer looking for the same type of supplier, I know you've already performed at a local level. You know how to build roads, you know how to install sewer lines. You've shown me some demonstrated past performance in a government sector. So I know you are familiar with how to deal in that government sector arena, even if it is a city contract. And that's where people get messed up. They kind of are like, well, I haven't done federal. And it's like, no, you have done government work. You've worked in the city. And that is government. So what does that tell me as a supplier diversity advocate or a contracting officer? I know that you know how to follow rules and regulations within a government setting. So let's take you up another notch. Let's get you into state government contracting. Then let's get you into federal government contracting. And then if I'm looking at it from a prime contractor's perspective, I know you have demonstrated past performance in this particular arena. I'm a prime contractor. I'm looking for small businesses because I have goaling requirements and I have contracting requirements where I need a specialty. So the large primes are doing the same thing. They want to see what your past performance is. They want to know that you can work in an array of environments that they are in and that you're going to be able to lead them to mission success. I wanted to give a couple examples just to kind of highlight. Let's see, let's focus on one. These I just pulled off the World Wide Web. You can go on the World Wide Web and you will find all different kinds of capability statements. Keep in mind, it's very similar to resumes. What you see is oftentimes based on industry areas, as well as targeted towards particular government agencies. And so here we have our first capability statement. You know, it says capability statement. There's the logo for the company, their contact information, where they're located at, a brief description of the company, what their core competencies are, their past performance, and they have featured clients, and their codes and certifications, and then their small business certifications. Look at the use of graphics and look at the use of white space. You don't want your capability statement to be all mushed together. Keep in mind, contracting officers, OSDBU offices, small business advocates, it's like you're getting a lot of these across your desk. You have maybe 10 to 30 seconds to screen these and look at these, and you are gleaning certain types of information based on upcoming contract needs. Now here's another sample. Clients, they went strictly with logos. Their past performance and their differentiators are highlighted, and their core competencies, and a brief capability kind of overview. Page done, NAICS listed, and then contact information. Another style. This I think is almost too wordy. You know, I would kind of like to see this broken out and bulleted. That's my personal opinion. Again, somebody else will have another opinion about the capability statement. Remember what I said in the beginning, you can go to 3 different people, you're going to get 3 different opinions. And so it's good to have different individuals look at your capability statement, but you get the general feel, the logos, the visuals. Here, key business areas. Here they actually have logos associated with those, and then a few key points off to the side. Their snapshot, again, their primary, secondary NAICS codes, their Cage and Duns number, you know, they're a GSA holder, and then also their past performance or clients that they've supported in the past. And a fourth example. Here the certifications are on top with their website, their branding, and their kind of like their logo, as well as they have a schedule 738, their set aside WASB, kind of a little overview of the company, what it is they do, government information, their established relationships, and their differentiators. So a little different way of presenting their information. So let's go back and just kind of take a look at it. So when you look at it, you want to be able to easily scan through and glean what it is that the company is doing, what their core competencies are, who they've worked for. Their NAICS codes are going to be called out, and then their certifications. What will happen, what will happen is when you start to utilize these and use these in what I call the matchmaking sessions or presentations, you're going to find that the individual is going to be reading this while you're talking. they're going to be gleaning the information, and then they will be asking you questions. I see that you have worked with, Department of Defense. Can you tell me a little bit more about the projects that you've worked with for them? I see that you've worked for the state of Florida, in the university system. Can you tell me about, the types of contracts that you've done for them as it pertains to your particular industry area? So just some things to keep in mind as you're developing your capability statement. So this slide has a lot of data in it. So oftentimes I'm asked, okay, now I have this thing developed, what do I do with it? How do I go about using this? One thing that I didn't call out, and I haven't seen on a lot of the capability statements, which I think is a really good idea, are the use of QR codes. And the reason I say that is your QR code could be set to take OSDBU office, small business advocate, your people that you're handing it to, right to your website. And what would your website have on it? Your website could also have your capability statement on it as well, or wherever you're going to have your QR code take, the person receiving the capability statement. So keep in mind, I have in the past had capability statements with QR codes. I'm going to do a little diversion here. On your business cards, on the back, oftentimes they're blank. And so what could you do on the back of your business card? The back of your business card, you could put your QR code, and guess what else? You could put your DUNS number, your NAICS codes, and your CAGE code on the back. And so just food for thought, with regards to your business card. And oftentimes what will happen when you get into the situations we're going to talk about here is that when you are in a meet and greet situation, you will have your capability statement and you'll say, well, here's a capability statement. Some people will say, no, can you send that to me electronically? I'm not taking any paper back with me, or I prefer not to have paper. That's fine. Some people will take the capability statement, read over it, and hand it back. Don't be offended by that. It's just a style that particular person has. Other people will say, I want your paper cape statement. If you're in a situation where somebody says, thank you for the capability statement, send it to me via email, you have your business card, and if on the back side you have a QR code that takes you to an electronic version, they may be more apt to take the business card, with the QR code, and then they know, because on the back you have your DUNS, your CAGE, and your NAICS codes. Guess what? They can go look you up in Dynamic Small Business Search or in SAM.gov and see what your qualifications are as well. So just kind of something to think about when you're doing your capability statement. I know, Allie, we weren't going to talk about business cards, but here we are. We're in this world now of business cards, kind of with the capability statement. So it's kind of an option. So now here we are, we're set up in SAM. My Dynamic Small Business Search profile is enhanced, and I have my capability statement. What do I do now with this CAPE statement? Well, you will go ahead and target key industry leaders, whether they be federal, state, local government, educational institutions, or large primes, or even potential teaming partners. You can do that by email, you can do it by website, blog, your social media network. You can, post an announcement. You use it in hard copy, right? You have it with you to be able to use in networking situations. In some cases, a capability statement may be requested in an RFI process. Send us your capability statement as well. Or in an RFP response, they may want that. Or it's a referral from a decision maker. So you may meet somebody and they say, I know a guy who knows a guy. Right? Can you send me your capability statement and I will forward that on to Ted, or I'll forward that on to Mary Lou. You know, I know that she's an expert in that particular area. She would most likely be interested in seeing what your capabilities are for something I know that she's working on. So there are different needs with regards, you know, different ways your capability statement can be used. The most common way that most people hear about are at conferences, right? You're going to a large conference, you have your capability statement there, you have your business cards as well, and you're doing that meet and greet speed dating, what I call, where you have 10 minutes to tell a contracting officer or a supplier diversity professional all the great things that you do and why they want to give you a contract. That's most likely, you know, where you're going to be utilizing your capability statement, or conferences or vendor outreach. Oftentimes, if you're going on base, you know, Air Force, Navy, they will have events. A lot of times they prefer paper with regards to getting the capability statements. And we've already discussed matchmaking. I have seen in the past with associations, people will bring them, you know, to professional associations like SAMI, as well as, you know, women's professional groups, NAVO, WeBank, or 8A associations or HubZone, just as a way of introducing themselves to either other companies within the area, or again, just as a way of meet and greet. So what is that? It's your door opener, right? Yeah, how to build the relationships. So now you've done all of the rudimentary things of, you know, I've done all of the website, I've done all of the data input. So now we're getting you prepped for getting out there in the community. You have to, it's all about building the relationships. And the capability statement is one way to help you segment into that. It's your door opener. You know, that is kind of showcasing your business, its capabilities, how you are special and how you are different from the rest of the pack, and the advantages your company can provide to the agency, large prime, or potential teaming partner. Keep in mind, it's always about the successful completion of the mission. I don't care if it's DOD, DOE, Homeland Security, the university system. The contracting officer wants to know that you are able to help successfully complete the mission or the task at hand. You're meeting the requirements of the contract, and you're able to help them obtain their mission requirements. And so it's that door opener from you as the business owner, as a prime contractor in a government sector, or you as a subcontractor to a prime, the Lockheed, the Boeing, the CH2M, Hill in the old days, and the Honeywells. So you as a subcontractor to a prime, or you as a team member with other companies. So it's also a door opener for you in building relationships with the OSDBU. And OSDBU is Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, otherwise known in some social circle as small business program offices, or you will hear small business liaison officers, or small business advocates, or supplier diversity advocates. There's an array of names when it comes to small business representatives. It's also your introduction to them, because they are advocating for you in their social circle. That's the thing to keep in mind, is that you really also need to establish relationships with them, because many organizations use them as the gatekeeper. They will learn about the requirements of what is coming down the pike, and then they will screen companies that they meet at conferences, at vendor outreach sessions, at agency and base events to see, hey, you know, I have 5 companies that may be a good fit for this construction job coming. It's also a document that we want to trigger a level of interest when it comes to contracting and acquisition staff and program and technical managers. So we're kind of tickling the taste buds, so to speak, a little bit here with our capability statement. Is it going to be the only marketing piece you're going to use? I'm going to say no. This is the door opener. It is a one-pager that highlights. And what you'll find when you start talking with other, PTAC representatives around the country is that they will say it's the gate, it's opening the avenue, but oftentimes the next step is, I want to see your past performance statement or your past performance capabilities. And that's a whole another level of your past performance kind of called out by task. Or a contracting officer or a program technical person will say, you know what, I want you to come and do a technical presentation. That's where we want to get you to, is we want you to have your capability statement set up so that they come back and they say, we want you to do a presentation on this particular aspect of what your company is doing. And so that is kind of where we want to get you positioned. We want your capability statement strong so that you are calling out your past performance. It's targeted, your differentiators, what sets you apart from your competitors or people who want to be in that area, and your core competencies. And so all of the other, you know, we've got that locked in with our SAM. I know I've gone over a lot. There's a lot of great articles out there, and I want to make sure that you have these. And I've told Allie all of this information is going to be available. We will email you the presentation so that you have that. There are some really great articles that I found that I wanted to call out that also talk about the capability statements and how they're used. And these are just a few. There are also consulting firms that also have amazing presentations out on the website as well. But the one from the North Dakota and then the Georgia and NorCal PTAC, they also are really they're amazing. They're very good articles. I would recommend, it's worthwhile to go and read those. Very easy read. It'll only take you a couple minutes to get through everything. And so, Allie, I have left like 15 minutes, my contact information. I've left 15 minutes because I know this is a topic that there's a lot of questions. And so we'll have like 15 minutes for questions.
Almost perfectly timed to 15 minutes for questions. Well done, Marie. And I love the graphics. Just gotta say, who doesn't love cute little kids looking confused? We did have one question pop up already, where a newer business doesn't have much past performance. Would you suggest adding a section to the effect of founder's experience or something like that?
Yes, I would. So if someone is starting in and they are an expert in their field, I would recommend, yes, their expertise, you know, especially if they've been an expert in a consulting arena or they're a university professor and they're starting, you know, ramping up a business. I always like to use the Big Bang Theory as my example. Hopefully everybody knows Big Bang Theory with all of those little crazy physicists out there, the Sheldon Cooper. So let's say Sheldon is starting his own business. Sheldon is field and definitely has past performance, he would, call out his expertise.
Nice. Another question from Nancy down the hall. Are we getting a copy of the slides? I believe yes. Marie said that I will forward all the attendees' information to Marie, and either she or myself will send you the slides.
Yep.
Another question, should social media sites be on a capability statement?
Yes. Okay. Depends on the social media. Okay. If you are, yeah, commercial. If you are, especially if you are in, I will say graphic art, if you're in a graphic arts industry, I would think you are going to have so much with regards to social media, right? If you're doing any kind of publications, or you're in a publishing industry, you're going to have your social media linked links on there as well for people to go to. That's a definite yes. The other thing I wanted to mention is when you design your capabilities statement, and Lonnie McCrae from DOE had called this out in a capabilities presentation she had done, I believe it was for Govology, it was several months back, is keep in mind that a lot of times your capability statement gets printed out in black and white and not necessarily color. So keep that in mind when you're designing your capability statement. It may not be a bad idea to print it out in black and white and see what it looks like, as well as in color. Just something to kind of keep in mind. I thought that was really great. Lonnie is amazing, so I thought that was a great call out.
Awesome, thank you. I don't see any more coming in. Might be system overload. I know folks will probably watch the the recording link that will be sent out this afternoon, and reiterate that the video library that Marie mentioned is on our website if you want to check out any other topics that we've presented on in the past. The different NAICS codes event that you did a couple months ago. What other topics am I missing? I know there was the certifications for small businesses.
The dynamic small business search and the NAICS codes were together. The thing to keep in mind is that, the PTACs are here to help review your capability statement, to help guide you through that process. There are uniquenesses, for each industry area. What's done in graphic arts is not going to be done in construction, is not going to be done in healthcare. There's always a few little nuances with that. We PTAC peeps are really great at kind of pulling you out to say, what is it that you're doing and how is it you're doing? And why would a contracting officer want to place a contract with you? It's our level of expertise. We've been in the field for years and years, and to kind of know how to guide you to make sure that you are presenting your company in the best light to that audience. And keep in mind, it's helping prep you for your matchmaking sessions. This is going to be the document when you get to meet small business program manager, from NAFAC. Hey, here's my capability statement. I perform the following, IT, services. You're using this and you're expanding it while they are most likely scanning that one pager. You're saying, when I did work for X, Y, and Z company, this was the breadth and depth of that. So it's your, in some ways, I want to say, is kind of like a safety blanket. It's your blankie that you're using as you're starting your pitch with regards to contracting professionals and people in the procurement arena.
Awesome.
And so just to I'm going to recap. Was there another question, Allie?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to recap. Next week on the 28th, starting at 9:30, is the Jacksonville Cecil Center, and that's going to be government contracting and global partners. And then in November, on November 16 at 1 o'clock, will be our PTAC veterans focused topic, and Gregory Grant will be leading that class. And then in December, on December 10 at 10, we'll be kind of talking about marketing strategies with the government sector. You know, how to go ahead and actually know who to go after and how to go after and all that good stuff. And that will then set people up for the start of the new calendar year, which is when a lot of, you know, industry days and things like that will start popping up. And I'll put a little teaser in. If you go to sam.gov and start searching, you'll start to see some of those pop up. And most of them are virtual, I'm going to say. So it's a virtual environment, you know, where you would be participating in industry days.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. We did have one suggestion from an attendee, and I don't know if you mentioned this or not, that the capability statement should always be saved as a PDF as a best practice, yes. not a Word document or a publisher or something.
Yeah, amazing things happen. Thank you, person, whoever that was. Yeah, amazing thing happens when you pull it up on your computer and everything kind of goes, yeah.
Well, that's all the questions I have, Marie. Give folks a couple other seconds. As mentioned, you'll get an email this afternoon with a link to the recording and our contact information. If you're interested in following up with Marie or more training, you will be able to do so from that email and the survey. Okay, yep, no more questions. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and call it a day. Marie, thank you for an awesome information jam-packed session. We hope everybody found it beneficial, and if so, then let us know in that survey. We'll see you at the next one.
Right. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.